Hey guys, I'm Lexie Smith, a mom, multi-hyphenate entrepreneur, and the founder and CEO of the PR Bar Inc. coaching platform and agency. In my career, I've had the privilege of guiding countless brands, ingenious publicists, eager students, and ambitious entrepreneurs on their PR journeys. I've danced with the giants and nurtured startups, directed in-house PR departments, lent my expertise to boards, and spread knowledge across universities nationwide. Throughout all of this, I've seen our industry change and evolve while simultaneously proving that some timeless fundamentals remain unshaken. This show takes you behind the scenes of the world of media, marketing, and PR, aiming to teach you all the new tips, tricks, and how the best and brightest are achieving success over SIPs. Now it's time to grow. Welcome to the show. Today's episode is a bit different, but extra special because I have a guest trifecta. Specifically, I have three of the superstars from the Qwoted team with me to break down all the ins and outs of the platform. Now, if Qwoted doesn't ring a bell, it will post this episode. Regardless if you are someone listening who wants press, if you're a journalist, if you're someone in the PR space, if you're an entrepreneur, this show is a must listen. Okay, so Maddy, Shelby, and Vannyda, welcome officially to the show. What I want us to do, because there's so many of you guys, and I'll say who to go first. I want you to share your name, your title, and where you are calling in from, just so we can start to get used to your voices. So Maddy, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, hi, I'm so excited to be here. As you said, my name's Maddy. I'm the director of sales for Qwoted. I'm calling in from New Jersey today, just outside New York City.
Perfect. A+, gold stars. Okay. And Shelby, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I'm Shelby Bridges. I am based in Montana, in Billings, Montana, tiny little town. And I am our success manager here at Qwoted.
Perfect. And then last but certainly not least, Vannyda.
Hi, I'm Vannyda. I am the Media Success Manager based in Long Beach, California, just in between LA and Orange County.
You're the closest to me, so we're on the same time zone. And guys, I'm Lexie Smith. I am the host of this show, and I'm calling in from Ventura, California. You all knew that. Okay, so fantastic. What we're going to do now is I'm going to invite Maddy up to the hot seat. And I'm going to ask Maddy some questions based, again, on her role within the company. So you are the director of sales. Briefly, can you just give us a breakdown of what your role is for Qwoted?
Yeah, of course. Being a small team, we all wear many hats here at Qwoted, but I spend a lot of my day kind of sharing information about how our tool and our network and platform is unique, and when compared to some of the other tools out there, how we can kind of do our part to provide high quality connection opportunities to a variety of folks in the media sort of landscape. But I, work very closely with Shelby and Vannyda on a daily basis. We all kind of jump in and collaborate together, which is really fun. One of the benefits of being such a small, tight-knit team. But a lot of my day is spent having conversations that actually look a lot like this one, just kind of sharing more information about Qwoted and the benefits of our tool.
So, okay, perfect. Guys, now finally the big question. What is Qwoted? Who is it for? Tell us all the things.
Of course, yeah. So Qwoted is for everybody. Qwoted is a two-sided network that connects members of the media who are in need of expert input with PR professionals and expert sources in those spaces. So essentially, Qwoted provides a platform that facilitates seamless connections, that empowers professionals to earn free media, build brand authority, and also extend the reach of their business and their expertise as well.
So break down for me a little bit more specifically how this platform might be different than some of your competitors. And I'll just say one that comes to mind, and I'm sure you've been asked this specifically. Haro, for example, was one of the OG platforms that connected, or Haro, that's the big debate, right? Which one is it? Journalists to publicists. How is Qwoted different than this service or other services on the market?
Yeah, there's a ton of ways that Quoted is different than some of the other tools that some PR pros might have kind of in their tech stacks. Um, there's a couple different reasons for this. One mainly is our model. Quoted is a network, and we provide a more efficient model in that way for building relationships with media and securing press coverage. Because of our two-sided marketplace, the platform essentially enables users to actively engage with each other and specifically curate their alerts around their interests, which fosters just a more tailored experience and a higher signal to noise ratio.
And in terms of anyone thinking like, okay, is it worth my time, or like what are the types of opportunities on this platform? Who, from the journalist standpoint, do you have any demographic information? I know that's super specific, but can you tell us, a bit more in that area?
Yeah, of course. So there are multiple ways to connect with media across our platform, and I'll share more information on that. But today we're right around 13,000 media users. That number grows between 8 and 900 joining each month. About half of those users, 52%, access Quoted on a regular basis. That means daily or weekly. That translates to over 3,000 press opportunities submitted by media each month on average, and over 2,000 direct messages sent by media within our network each month on average. And that's one of the great things about Quoted. There's multiple ways to connect with media. So those last 2 points I gave you, those are the 2 ways that reporters can connect with experts and PR professionals on Quoted. Pitching requests isn't the only way to get noticed by the media within our network. Actually, about half of our media user activity is research across our wider network of global experts. This network is searchable by reporters based on subject matter, job titles, location. There's tons of filters and tools that they can use to conduct research inside of our community. And this allows them to directly reach out and obtain, commentary, insights via Quoted's network through, PR professionals or the experts directly. So there's a lot of ways to connect and sort of build your network a bit broader with Qwoted.
And first off, all the snaps for knowing your numbers. I love a girl who knows her numbers, like Shark Tank. You passed the Shark Tank. Okay, so one thing that I also want to dive into, by the way, guys, I should probably mention I'm an avid, and my whole agency is an avid Qwoted user. So I am pro Qwoted. I think it's really, really great. This is not a paid episode. I genuinely reached out to these guys because I want to have an episode that teaches you guys how to use this phenomenal tool. So this is just like purely me on my soapbox. That being said, there are different levels you can join Qwoted at, and this is a question I get a lot. Like, is paying for Qwoted worth it? And we don't need to go into the specifics in terms of cost, but regarding maybe features of a free account versus a paid account, can you kind of tell us what's the difference?
Totally. Yeah. So even in a free account, and this is one of the few areas I mentioned that really sets Qwoted apart from other tools in the space, is that Qwoted provides, even at the free level, better data and insights and more control for our users over your alerts and notifications, as well as better information around your pitching efforts. So we give you read receipts so you know when a journalist has seen your pitch. Alerts when people are viewing your profiles or the profiles of your thought leaders. Pitch intelligence, so you can see how much activity and opportunity has engaged. All of these benefits and more visibility into the work that you're doing are available with access to Qwoted, again, even at the free level. However, the main difference between a paid account and a free account in Qwoted gets you access to that data and the ability to do more in our network more quickly. So with a paid Qwoted account, you're not limited by a certain number of pitch credits, so you can pitch more often. There's no time delay in a paid version of Qwoted, so you can pitch more quickly. And you also receive better training and premium support with a paid Qwoted account. We give you a lot more insights and do a real deep dive into how our platform works, which is really beneficial all of those things that I mentioned are great, right? We know that a lot of times pitching can be a bit of a numbers game. So simply having the flexibility to pitch more often, do so more quickly, and have a better understanding of how Qwoted works, I'd say those are the main benefits of a paid account versus free. We do still see free users seeing success with our platform every day, getting quoted in top publications. So I wouldn't say that it's even necessary, but certainly there are benefits to upgrading your account with us.
Yeah, and I have a paid quoted account, just for the record, everyone, and it makes a lot of sense for me in terms of having an agency. If you are one suggestion, what you can always do is start on a free and see if you're starting to see a lot of things you want to pitch, right? And if you're seeing a lot of things you want to pitch, then I'll just say it's been no doubt worth it for my company. Okay, so my last question for you in the hot seat is this, and I know you probably can't tell us all the things, but I'd love to know if there's anything coming up in Qwoted. Are there new feature rollouts, or what lies ahead? What are some things maybe that you're allowed to tease out?
Yeah, of course. So I do have some stuff that I can share. Not too many details, but one thing that we actually did already launch that's really big news is that we recently introduced the world's first social collaboration network for PR pros within Qwoted. So we recently launched PR to PR messaging, where Qwoted users have the ability to connect with other PRs in our network, colleagues, industry peers, to share insights, best practices, and just connect and sort of broaden your network. So I definitely recommend any existing users to go and check that feature out. But in terms of the future, we have a lot on the horizon. By design, Qwoted was very much a reactive tool, allowing reporters to get their needs met. And slowly, as we've grown over time, we've been introducing, of course, with certain guardrails based on data and making sure that there are relevant matches being made across the platform. But bit by bit, we've allowed even more of an even exchange between PRs and reporters. Another example of this is our connection request, which we recently launched, visible in our request feed, just identifying relevant connections that might be made between you and relevant reporters in the network. So we're working on releasing more functionality in that vein, more proactive functionality that will allow PR professionals to, in general, push more of their messaging on a bit more of a cold basis to reporters on the other side of our network. But of course, as always, in a safer environment, meaning there's clear relevancy and a match to clients, we always want to make sure we're providing high quality connections across the platform. So we'll be, rolling out more of that kind of functionality in the in the upcoming months. We're really excited to see it be taken live, and you'll all be made aware as soon as that happens, for sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Your time in the hot seat is
Thank you.
done right now, but you're not allowed to leave yet. So hang out while I talk to two of your colleagues, and then we'll bring you back at the end. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lexie.
Yeah, Shelby. Come on up.
Right? You're the next contestant.
I know, you're on The Price is Right, which, by the way, as like a 10-year-old, I binge watched, which is really interesting. I'm not like their demographic. I digress. Okay, Shelby, please remind everyone, what is your role at Qwoted, and what does your day-to-day look like? What are you responsible for?
Yeah, so my title, I think, is pretty vague. It's just the success manager. So ultimately, you can kind of just think of me as Vannyda's opposite, or like counterpart. So she takes care of our media users, which she'll talk through, and I'm focused on the other side. So anybody from PRs, experts, or just self-representing individuals who are in the platform using it. Primarily, my focus would be around like our paid users, as Maddy mentioned. Part of that like premium support comes as part of the paid features, but still also helping the free users out here to make sure that we're getting people signed up correctly, getting them using it, getting them all the tools, tips, and tricks. So it's always a wide range of things that I see throughout the day, but it's fun. We wear a lot of hats.
I totally get that, having come from startup and now having a small business. But okay, so I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit on some tactics. From your side of things, how can a self-representing expert, so this is the founder or someone who doesn't have a PR agency just yet or a publicist, how can a self-representing expert set themselves up for success on the platform?
I think like when I think of self-representing experts, it's somebody they're running a business during the day, like they're busy. They don't have time to like sit and Qwoted throughout the day and just wait for the right things to come up. And so I'm always pushing representative or like experts out here to build out their profiles really well so that when the right opportunity does come up, you can be really quick to jump on it because all of your information lives in your account. It's like your resume. So as you're pitching, the media can see that entire page. So you don't need to spend so much time crafting a pitch. Like if I'm helping customers or running my business, I don't have time to write a novel for somebody. So that's the fastest way to quickly get in and respond. But then also, how do I make sure I get notified about those relevant opportunities as they become available? As Maddy mentioned, there's hundreds of opportunities that are posted throughout the day. So a handful of those may or may not be relevant to me. And so there's those little hashtags that you see everywhere within Qwoted. You see them linked on opportunities, but you also see them at the top of your profile page. And when you set those up, anytime they're a match with a new opportunity that's posted, that's when Qwoted's kicking you off a quick email to say like, hey, hold the phone, like this one might be relevant to you. So if you're somebody who's focused in a really specific and niche space, you're not having to scroll the Qwoted feed throughout the day, sort of looking for things, trying to manage that. You're just getting notified about the relevant opportunities as soon as they become available. So ultimately, like that's what I want to do is just save like a business owner's time or like an entrepreneur who's probably managing their own staff. And that's the quick and easiest way to do it.
And God bless you for that, because yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about the publicists, the PR agencies who are representing multiple people? Do you have any suggestions for them? Is it different? The same tips apply?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same tips, I would say, but on a bigger level, right? So the PR profile essentially in Qwoted just means that you're able to have multiple sources rather than just as an expert, you're just representing yourself as a source. So now you have more people to manage. So ultimately, I think the hashtags, the profiles, all of it just becomes more important because now you're trying to manage this across all the different industries, areas, all these people that you're representing. So the more you can build out those client profiles and the more you can add in hashtags, just making sure that you're curating, getting the right types of notifications, the better it's going to be overall for you.
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about some overall best tips or way to stand out, or really get your pitch seen, get your pitch landed. I'm sure actually I have no idea, but I would imagine on the back end, you guys get to see like what kind of happens. Maybe anyways, any advice you have on, okay, I signed up for Qwoted. How can I like use this in a way or like pitch in a way? I'm rambling now. You get where I'm going, I hope.
Yeah. Just like overall tips and tricks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few things. I think, timing can be everything when it comes to a lot of this. Like, even if I have a deadline several days from now, like usually the faster you can go in there and get back to a journalist, the better, because they can start working on their story. They can conversate with you back and forth, get all their questions answered. And you're just kind of getting in front of everybody else that may be there. But I think the profile is still so important when it comes to this, because I think about like any other network that I use, and we all deal with it, right? Like somebody tries to add me on Instagram or somebody tries to add me on LinkedIn, and it's like they don't have a photo or they don't have their employment. And I'm like, who are you? Why are you trying to add me? And if I do add you, are you going to send me some weird sales message, something like that? And so I think that's how the media probably views these profiles as well. So when you're pitching, if your face is there and I can see your title and your company and how this is relevant to something that you can speak to, I'm more likely to engage with you overall. So I think, timing and getting in there quickly, but then also just having as much information available for you as possible makes it easy for the journalist to just verify your identity. They know you're working with a real person and they feel more comfortable using you in their story.
And are you submitting like full on pitches through the platform? Do you need to like have the pleasantries, like if I were operating in Gmail, or is it different at all?
I mean, I would say treat it like an email, right? You still see their names, like, kind of conversational, but I do see them being like a little bit more short, concise, and focused. We do see a really good response rate because like I mentioned, your bio, your credentials, your background is in the profiles as long as you've built them out. So you shouldn't have to spend as much time crafting this really lengthy pitch with all of that information again. It's sort of redundant that way. So the more you can focus the pitch itself to be very specific, focused on the questions that they're asking, the better response rate overall. So I would say not super short, but like the shorter the better. Like the media doesn't want homework when they come in to read their pitch submissions at the end of the day. So the easier you can make it for them to get the answers that they need and just verify your identity, the better.
Did you know that I send out a community newsletter roundup every Tuesday, chocked full of resources, media kit downloads, journalist contact information, event invites, visibility opportunities? Basically, if you're not on the list, hit pause and sign up. It is super simple. All you got to do is go to theprbarinc.com/newsworthy. That link is in the show notes too. Okay, back to the show. Okay, so Maddy brought it up a little bit and you've touched upon it. A core benefit, one of the core benefits of Qwoted is this searchability within the platform itself, both ways. And I know you said hashtags are really big. Do you have any other tips or advice on, from your side of things, best ways to maybe search the platform for different opportunities? Are there different types of opportunities? What are some things we need to know?
Yeah. So there's search functionalities on both sides. So like when a media user logs in, they can just go search through the database for experts. And ideally, that's where the media can come directly to you as either the representative or the source. And they can just say, like, I came across your profile, I found you, like, I think you'd be a great fit for a story I'm working on. So that's, again, where profile completion, all of those details will really come into play, because our system is more likely to surface those profiles the more relevant they are to the search that the media is doing. And then, of course, vice versa on the other side, there's the ability to go out just to the opportunity. So if you're not waiting for those emails to come to you based on a new opportunity being a really good fit, you can just go search through the database for opportunities that are published or posted throughout the day. Of course, it's a feed. And so it's just populating as new opportunities become available, and they're sort of trickling down throughout the day. So if I'm coming in and I'm looking for something very specific, you do kind of have to, put in some search terms or some different ways to like maybe filter, refine to get a little bit more specific. When you are searching, something that we found that was confusing for people is you'll see active opportunities that have maybe just been posted recently towards the top of your searches. But as you scroll, we recently just launched what we're now calling like our media opportunities, or like meet the media, start a conversation, however you kind of want to look at it. And this is essentially like older opportunities that the media user had in here, and it's topics that they're writing on, it's the publication they're writing for. There's just not an active opportunity right now. And so you can just hit start a conversation that way. And it's a way to kind of just cold outreach to them, just based on things that they've written in the past that you think you'd be a helpful resource for. So just a way to introduce yourself, maybe introduce your profile. They can go on and they can favorite or save your profile when you reach out and introduce yourself. So that way, even when they're writing on similar topics in the future, they can just keep you in mind because they have you favorited or saved.
Okay, I did not know that. Note to myself and my team, we need to go back in and check that feature out. That's incredible. And a huge barrier to entry for people in general in meeting the media. So amazing. I'm thrilled to learn that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this might be just available to the paid users, but I know there's an award component too. Is that for paid, and what is that?
Yeah, so that's part of one of the paid features. So it's the events and awards database. So we have a team that sort of just compiles any types of events, awards. There's like editorial calendars, things like that in there where you can search and just do research, and it kind of aggregates the results for whatever you're researching. It makes it a little bit easier because we have crawlers on all those websites kind of pulling in all that information that you kind of have to go out and like a Google search and maybe hunt for normally. So we're pulling in like the best contact that we have on file. So in case it is something that's interesting to you, the best person to go to for that event award and learn more details. And then it just has any details that have been announced. So if there's a speaker list announced yet, if there's a sponsors and partners list, just details as far as like location, whether that's virtual, in person. If it's an award, it's giving us the submission deadline and also the award date, and then all prior winners listed too. So you can search for in this database, you can search based on like a company. If we're doing like a competitive analysis, you can filter by like past events. If you're looking at something that happened in the past, seeing kind of who was there, speakers, sponsors, to look at if it's something you want to look at in the future as well. So it's you can use it pretty creatively. There's a lot of information in there. And I think it's really underutilized because people don't kind of realize that it exists.
Yeah, 100%. It's become a really nice tool for my team that it took us a while to stumble upon. So, amazing. Thank you, Shelby. Again, similar, you're allowed to like step off stage, but stay backstage, please, because I do want to bring you back at the end, but you are off the hot seat. I appreciate all your insights.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and Vannyda, come on up. The Price is Right. We're still going with this. Hello. Okay, again, can you remind everyone of what your role is on the Qwoted team?
Yeah, I am. So again, media success manager. I am opposite of what Shelby does, supporting all the journalists, producers, podcasters that come into Qwoted, getting them acclimated with the platform, showing them around how to navigate and all the different resources that they can use within the platform.
Amazing. Okay, so while you're not necessarily pitching journalists for press, it's your job to manage relationships. So I'd love to know general best practices for creating new authentic relationships with members of the media.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a PR background, and so I kind of understand that, when you are talking to the media, what angle can what story are you trying to pitch them? But with Qwoted, we ultimately just want to provide that support to all the reporters out there. We know that there may not be a lot of resources out there for them, and so we just want to assist them with their stories, ensuring that they get what they need, connecting them with the experts. And so just making sure that they have what they need, checking in on them. That's all we really want to do because we know that they're always working on tight deadlines. And yeah, again, just wanting to support them in whatever it is that they need.
I'm sure at this point you have a lot of members of the media coming to your platform organically, and I don't know if you were there from the inception of Qwoted or not, but did you guys initially start to build that database through just cold outreach to different reporters?
Yeah, I'd say some of it was, but a lot of it is actually word of mouth. Through LinkedIn, through Twitter, we see it, which is amazing to see. So that's how it's been, I'd say, over time. Yeah.
Awesome. So for journalists or reporters looking to leverage Qwoted successfully, what should they keep in mind? So kind of the opposite of what we just talked about with Shelby. Now I want to give a shout out and talk about the members of the media, how they can utilize the platform best.
Yeah, so when reporters come onto Qwoted, there's two routes that they can take to get in touch with these experts and PRs and brands. And the first one is through submitting a request. The second one is through the expert database. Now, when they are submitting requests, I always advise that this is probably the most powerful route to take to get connected with sources. And when they're submitting it, filling out the form, I always let them know, hey, the more details that you include, the better. Our system does use some tech and natural language processing to take a look at all the details they've included, look at the keywords to help make those relevant matches with, the hashtags that the PRs and experts have on their profiles. So building out their requests with more details, sometimes adding a little bit of information about what their publication is about, if it's not as well known. If they have their assignment already, I always tell them to submit it right away into Qwoted to give you some wiggle room to find those sources, to get those responses, because we know that sometimes when PRs are working with their clients, it takes a little bit of time to get that commentary to share back with the reporter. So as soon as you have the assignment, submit it to Qwoted right away. And then separately, they also have the expert database as a resource for them too. So there are a bunch of different filters within the database that they can utilize. So maybe they're looking for female voices, or they'd like to find someone in a specific location. There's also a filter that a lot of our reporter friends love to use, the quick to respond filter that helps them get replies within the hour. So lots of different filters, search capabilities to help them diversify their source. But those are the two main routes that they can take to get in touch with these experts and PRs.
So interesting, because Shelby was mentioning best practice to respond really, really quickly. I did not know on the other side, you guys have a filter for that. So really, guys, on the customer submitting or the PR side, make sure you are on top of submitting quickly, which is good PR practice. But now we know there's some tech involved in it too. So it's like doubly important. Anything, I guess, through your experience and working with members of the media, cautionary tales, things to avoid, things that, I don't know, maybe I haven't asked yet that would be helpful for them to know?
So, things to avoid. Not necessarily. I mean, I'd say we see some reporters submitting requests, on a super tight deadline within, like they need something within 5 minutes. Just be aware that that might be tough. We do have a media support team here working behind the scenes to assist in research, conducting outreach. Lexie, I don't know if you've heard from our media support team whenever there's a relevant opportunity, but we do reach out to relevant PRs and experts to make sure that they are seeing these opportunities that they should pitch. So a lot of additional support behind the scenes, helping out these reporters along the way. But I'd say, yeah, if we're talking about the deadline of like 5 minutes, please give us a little bit of time. We'll do our best to get these connections as quickly as possible, but always a little bit more time is helpful.
Perfect. Okay. So now what I want to do is bring up your other two halves. So Shelby and Maddy, can you please join us on stage? I literally feel like I'm running a talk show. Perfect. You guys have been so great with tech too. If you guys are watching on YouTube, plug, you can see how smooth this has been. Okay. So we have, I guess before we wrap up, you all three just heard each other. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about or that's worth knowing about Qwoted? Or did we kind of cover all the things?
I feel like we covered so much. And I liked how like Shelby brought up the opportunities that are present in the request feed, where you can reach out to journalists that have written on that topic before. That was the same kind of functionality I'm referencing, which we're working on rolling out in the coming quarters, and hopefully sometime in 2024, more of that kind of technology that allows you to do more of that proactive outreach to media. And I always love, hearing how hard our media support team works to get the journalists that use Qwoted and are part of our media community what they need at, in very tight turnaround times and very short deadlines. Publications are also important pieces of data that I might recommend, any media using Qwoted that they include in their requests, just because it helps us deliver, more relevant information to other users that might pitch those opportunities based on the publications. So this was a great example of how our team constantly works together and are constantly trying to sort of support the other ends of each other's responsibilities, just making sure that there is a seamless sort of flow that is Qwoted on a daily basis. So we work really hard to make that reality. Hopefully our users feel the same.
I'm a user. I feel that way, which is why I wanted to talk to you guys. So, interestingly, we're all of us, even you guys on the same team, located somewhere different. So if we were to have a virtual happy hour, I now need to ask each of you individually what we will find you sipping. Of course, this can be non-alcoholic or alcoholic, whatever you prefer. So Maddy, first and foremost, what are you bringing to happy hour or ordering?
Such a good question. I am quite versatile. I'm not too picky, but I do love a good gin and club. So I'll be drinking a gin and club. I'll be sipping on that for a virtual happy hour.
And then when you cheers Shelby, Shelby? I just combined gin with Shelby. That's
a good name
I invented. Let's keep that in, everyone. When you are cheersing Shelby, what is she cheersing you with?
Oof, I've probably like an Italian white wine.
Ooh,
That would be like
okay.
the go-to. I mean, although we're coming out of summer now, so maybe it like slowly transitions to red. I don't know.
Okay. I'm very like weather
The colder
dependent
months.
too. I feel you. I'm weather dependent, time of day dependent. Like, what am I doing? What activity am I doing?
Yeah.
But Italian white wine, wonderful. And then when you go to Cheers, Vanita, what are you sipping?
I'd say probably something sweet, but if I
Okay.
have to go with something specific, maybe a Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon
So,
Blanc. Okay, that's my favorite white wine. So good taste all around, ladies. Last and certainly not least, where can people go to learn and sign up for Quoted?
Yeah, you can visit Qwoted.com. We also we tweet opportunities that are submitted to our platform on a daily basis, so you can follow us on Twitter. We also post often on LinkedIn and Facebook, highlighting users in our network that have ranked in our top 100 PR list. Sometimes we interview journalists about the state of the industry. We have a lot of cool content on our blog. But visiting Qwoted.com will take you to the page where you can sign up, where you can learn more about our offering. You can also reach out to anyone on our team. We have a chat functionality as well. So any questions that you have, we're always here to help.
Perfect. And I have no idea if your marketing team has this as part of sign up, but if you guys are signing up and there's a where did you hear about Quoted, drop us a line at Pitchin and Sippin podcast. But you guys, this was amazing. Thank you for being my first guest trifecta. This was so helpful and I'm so excited to get everyone up on Quoted. In fact, I'm probably giving myself more competition, but hey, here we are. Thank you guys. And until everyone listening, until next time.